You don't become wealthy by chance. You become wealthy by choice, by choosing habits that set you up for success. Because every small decision you make today builds the foundation for the life you live tomorrow. Habits are the silent architects of your financial freedom. Build them wisely, and the wealth will follow. What if the secret to becoming extremely wealthy isn't about luck, but about the habits you develop every single day? What if small, simple changes in your routine could set you on a path toward financial freedom? Imagine waking up every morning with a clear plan, a strong mindset, and the drive to make things happen. In today's video, we're diving into the 10 habits of extremely wealthy people. The habits that separate the successful from the rest. These aren't fancy strategies or quick fixes. These are daily practices that anyone can adopt, no matter where you start from. Want to know how to think, act, and live like the wealthy? What if you could start today and see your life change for the better? Stick around as we explore these powerful habits that could transform your financial future. Now let's dive in. Number 1, wake up early and plan your entire day. Waking up early is one of the simplest habits to understand, but one of the hardest to stick with. It separates the average from the excellent. When you wake up early, you get the world before the world gets you. You're not reacting to the day, you're setting the pace. And the people who are extremely wealthy, not just with money, but with time, with energy, with clarity, they understand the value of those quiet hours when the sun hasn't fully risen, when the noise hasn't started, and when the world is still. That's when the winners begin their day. You see, when you wake up early, you create space between you and the chaos. You give yourself a head start. That sense of control, it does something powerful. It calms the mind and sharpens the focus. It's a signal to yourself that you're serious about your life. You're not waking up to catch up. You're waking up to lead. And that habit alone builds self-respect. You begin to trust yourself more. You told your body to get up, and it listened. You said you'd show up early, and you did. That's how confidence grows. When you plan your day early, you remove the fog that traps most people. You know what that fog is? It's uncertainty. It's confusion. It's that drifting feeling where you wake up and just go with the flow. The wealthy don't drift. They drive. They sit down in the morning and decide what matters. They list it out. They write it down, and it's not just a to-do list. It's a declaration of priorities. It's a commitment to focus. It's a reminder of what they're working toward. Planning doesn't mean squeezing in every second with tasks. It means being intentional. It means knowing what's important and what's not. Most people are busy all day long, but they don't move an inch closer to their goals. And the problem is, they never stop to ask, what do I really want out of this day? The wealthy do. They ask. They write. They act. That's the difference. And I'll tell you, waking up early is uncomfortable at first. Of course it is. The bed feels warm. Your eyes feel heavy. Your body says not yet. But the mind of someone chasing greatness speaks louder. And over time, it's no longer a battle. It becomes a part of who you are. You don't fight the morning. You welcome it. You enjoy the silence. You use it. You fill it with the right things. Those early hours. That's when you read. That's when you reflect. That's when you review your goals. That's when you decide what kind of day you're going to have before anyone else decides it for you. You don't leave it to chance. You wake up and take control. When you start early, you give yourself time to prepare, not just physically, but emotionally. You prepare your mindset. You breathe. You reflect. You take a moment to connect with your values. You remind yourself why you're doing this. And when the day gets noisy, and it will, you're already anchored. You're not thrown around by opinions, distractions, or emergencies. You're grounded because you began grounded. People who are wealthy in every sense, they value time over comfort. They don't sleep until the last minute and rush out the door. That kind of life feels like you're always behind. That kind of life is full of stress, mistakes, forgotten things. But if you start your day early, you can move through it with clarity. You don't chase the day, you meet it, prepared and ready. And planning, don't overlook that part. The best don't hope their day goes well. They don't wait to see what comes up. They decide ahead of time what matters most. They prioritize. They put their energy where it counts. And if something unexpected shows up, they have space to deal with it because the rest is already organized. When you wake up and plan your day, you create structure, and structure gives freedom. Most people think freedom is doing whatever they want whenever they want. That's not freedom. That's chaos. Real freedom is having the discipline to do what you said you would. Real freedom is being in charge of your time, not a slave to the clock. The wealthy understand this. That's why they guard their mornings. That's why they plan. That's why they focus. And I'll tell you something. When you keep waking up early, and you keep planning, and you keep sticking to it, something amazing happens. You stop feeling like you're behind in life. You stop comparing yourself because you've created a life you're proud of, day by day, step by step. And that kind of pride, it can't be bought. It has to be earned. And yes, there are going to be days when you feel tired. There are going to be mornings where the motivation isn't there. But remember, discipline will carry you where motivation doesn't. And if you stay consistent long enough, you won't need the motivation. It becomes who you are. You don't ask yourself, should I wake up early? You just do it. Because you know your future depends on it. Because you know your goals deserve it. Because you've made the decision already. Think about it. How you start your day affects everything else. Your mood, your energy, your decisions. If you start rushed, the rest of the day feels scattered. But if you start calm, clear, and focused, you carry that with you. You show up better. You listen better. You think better. That's the power of a strong morning. So many people say they want success, but they sleep through their opportunity. They wait until life wakes them up. And by then, they're already behind. The wealthy, they wake themselves up. They're ahead of the curve. They're already thinking, already planning, already moving. That's not luck. That's habit. And it's available to anyone. You don't need money to wake up early. You don't need talent to plan your day. You need a decision. You need to care enough about your future that you start treating your mornings like they matter. Because they do. They're the foundation of everything. You get that part right, and everything else starts to line up. When you build this habit, people will notice. They'll see the difference in your energy, your posture, your results. They'll wonder how you're doing it. But you'll know it started with that one simple change. Waking up earlier than you used to. Taking time to think. Taking time to plan. Giving your life direction. Making decisions while others are still dreaming. Number 2, cut off all time-wasting habits immediately today. One of the biggest reasons people don't get where they want to be in life is because of what they allow to steal their time. Not because they're not talented, not because they're not smart, but because they keep giving their hours away to things that add no value. If you look at the lives of people who've built serious wealth, true success, you'll find they are ruthless when it comes to protecting their time. They don't allow distractions to live in their schedule. They don't give hours to meaningless scrolling, useless arguments, or entertainment that doesn't fuel their mind. They see time the way most people see money. Every wasted minute is a cost. Every moment that slips away is a step lost. When you really stop and think about it, most people know what's wasting their time. They just don't stop it. They say they'll cut back on the TV. They'll spend less time on the phone. They'll clean up their routines. But it's always later. They wait until it becomes a crisis. They wait until the results are gone, the energy is gone, the momentum is gone. The wealthy don't wait. They act. They look at their life, they identify what's draining their progress, and they cut it out. You can't become great while entertaining average habits. You can't expect extraordinary results while you keep letting low-value behaviors hang around. That means no more tolerating hours on social media that give you nothing back. No more wasting the most productive part of your day on things that aren't moving your life forward. The moment you decide your time is valuable, your entire life starts to shift. Because how you use your time says everything about how serious you are. Time-wasting habits aren't always obvious. They sneak in. They dress up like rest. They feel comfortable. They don't shout. They whisper. You tell yourself just 5 more minutes, and before you know it, an hour is gone. You say, I'll start tomorrow. And now it's a week later and nothing has changed. Time wasters are quiet thieves. They rob you slowly. But by the time you notice, the damage is already deep. You have to be honest with yourself. Ask, what do I keep doing that gives me nothing? What habits drain my energy, waste my focus, steal my time? Is it late night scrolling? Meaningless conversations? Getting lost in news and gossip that don't help your goals? Whatever it is, cut it. And not later. Not when you feel ready. Today. Right now. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one where you decide you're done wasting your life. People who achieve wealth are not more disciplined by nature. They've just made decisions. They've said no to things other people say yes to. They've chosen progress over comfort. They don't let small pleasures get in the way of long-term purpose. They don't get addicted to distraction. They build systems that protect their time, and they follow them. You have to treat time like gold. If someone tried to take money from your pocket, you'd stop them. But how many times do you give away hours without thinking? You scroll through your phone and lose 45 minutes. You sit down to relax and 3 hours disappear. You get lost in conversations that go nowhere. That time, it's not coming back. And the scary part is, most people don't even feel the loss until it's too late. They look back and wonder where the time went. The wealthy know where it went because they put it to use. When you cut time-wasting habits, it's not just about being productive. It's about taking your life seriously. It's about respecting your future enough to stop giving your energy to things that don't build you. You only get so many days. You only get so many chances. The longer you wait to clean up your time, the harder it becomes to create something meaningful. And cutting off those habits doesn't mean you stop resting or enjoying life. It means you rest with purpose. You choose how you relax. You decide when and how to recharge. The wealthy don't grind every second. They just don't allow their rest to become their routine. They don't allow leisure to become the main thing. They schedule downtime, they enjoy it, and then they return to the mission. That's the difference. There's power in deciding what you will no longer tolerate. When you draw that line, you get stronger. You get sharper. You start to see how much time you were giving away to things that didn't matter. And when you take that time back, you can use it to learn, to build, to grow, to become. That's where the breakthrough happens, not in some big lucky moment, but in the quiet hours you used to waste, now filled with action and intention. Every time-wasting habit you let go of opens a door. It gives you space to create. It gives you clarity. It clears your mind. And when your mind is clear, you make better choices. You see opportunities. You follow through. You don't feel behind all the time. You don't feel stuck. You feel in control. That's what happens when you take back your hours. It's not always easy at first. You'll feel the pull. You'll feel the habit calling you back. But every time you resist, you're building strength. You're breaking the pattern. And eventually, what used to distract you no longer holds the same power. You've moved on. You've elevated. And now your energy is going toward things that actually change your life. Wealthy people understand that you can't manage what you don't measure. That's why they track their time. They're aware of where it goes. They don't leave it to chance. They build habits that support their goals and kill the ones that slow them down. They protect their focus like it's a treasure. And that's why they win. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. You just need to start one habit at a time. Identify it. Call it what it is. Remove it. Replace it. That's how transformation happens. Not by talking about change, but by making a decision and following through. You decide what kind of life you want, and then you get serious about building it. Every hour matters. Every choice counts. And the sooner you act, the faster you rise. The truth is, there's no shortage of time. There's a shortage of focus. There's a shortage of discipline. But those are skills. You can train them. You can develop them. But it starts with one choice cut off what wastes your time. And when you do, watch how fast your life begins to move in the right direction. You'll start to feel lighter, clearer, more capable. You'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish when your day isn't buried under distractions. Every single person who has built something great has done this. Not by being perfect, but by being committed. They decided that their goals were worth more than their habits. And that decision changed everything. Number 3, set clear financial goals and track them daily. The people who become extremely wealthy do something most people avoid. They get specific about what they want financially. They don't just say, I want to be rich. That's not a goal. That's a wish. A real goal has numbers. It has deadlines. It's written down and looked at often. The wealthy decide exactly how much money they want to earn, how much they want to save, how much they want to invest, and by when. There's no confusion. There's no guessing. They set a target and make it clear. Clarity is power. When you know exactly what you're working toward, your actions begin to align with that. You start to think differently. You cut out what doesn't help. You focus on what moves you closer. That clarity becomes the lens you see the world through. You see opportunities differently. You start asking better questions, and when your brain is focused on a specific outcome, it begins to find ways to get there. But when your goals are vague, your results are scattered. One thing the wealthy do is they break their goals down. If the goal is to earn $1 million, they ask, what needs to happen this year, this quarter, this month, this week, today? They don't leave it floating in the future. They break it into pieces they can take action on. That's how they create momentum. They don't wait until the end of the year to look at their bank account. They track progress daily. They open their numbers. They know exactly where they stand. This daily review, it's not about pressure. It's about ownership. When you look at your financial goals every day, you remind yourself of what matters. You stay alert. You stay engaged. You make better decisions. You spend more wisely. You think twice before wasting money. That daily attention sharpens your discipline. It strengthens your focus. It keeps your goals at the front of your mind instead of buried behind distractions. Most people avoid looking at their money. They don't want to see the reality. They'd rather hope everything is okay. But hoping doesn't build wealth. Paying attention does. Awareness is the first step toward progress. You can't change what you won't confront. The wealthy confront their numbers, even when they don't like them. That courage to look, to adjust, to keep improving, that's what sets them apart. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. Checking your numbers daily doesn't mean staring at a bank account all day. It means reviewing your targets, measuring your actions, checking in with your habits. Did you save what you planned? Did you earn what you expected? Are you spending where it makes sense? These are the kinds of questions that wealthy people ask themselves every single day. Not once a month, not once a year, every day. Tracking goals daily builds a sense of urgency. You stop waiting. You stop pushing things off. When you know the target and you know the timeline, it creates a drive inside you. That drive shows up in your behavior. You get to work earlier. You stay focused longer. You chase opportunities instead of waiting for them. That's how you create momentum. Not by big, rare moves, but by small, focused steps taken every day. Wealthy people also understand that goals need to be measured against reality. If you set a financial goal and you're not getting closer, you adjust your actions. You don't just hope it'll work out. You change your approach. You learn. You ask better questions. You figure out what's missing. And because you're tracking every day, you notice problems faster. You make corrections faster. You grow faster. Financial goals aren't just about the money. They're about the person you become in the process. Setting a clear goal forces you to think long term. It makes you stretch. It demands better habits. When you decide you want to reach a specific number, you have to become the kind of person who can earn and manage that amount. You have to think strategically. You have to get serious about your time, your energy, your skills. That process of growth, that's where the real wealth begins. Tracking your goals daily helps you stay emotionally connected to your vision. It's easy to get discouraged when things move slow. It's easy to doubt yourself. But when you check in every day, even a small win reminds you that progress is happening. You build belief. You build confidence. You see the line moving, even if it's just a little. That little bit of movement is powerful. It gives you the fuel to keep going. It reminds you that your actions matter. Another thing you'll notice when you track your financial goals daily is how quickly your thinking improves. You start looking at expenses differently. You start asking, is this helping me or holding me back? You start looking for ways to grow your income, cut unnecessary spending, and invest smarter. You start reading more, learning more, seeking guidance. Because when your mind is locked on a goal, your awareness rises. And with higher awareness comes better choices. Wealthy people treat their financial goals like commitments, not casual ideas. They don't write them down once and forget about them. They build systems to review them, track them, and hold themselves accountable. That's how goals turn into results. Not with wishful thinking, but with repeated action and daily attention. That process creates momentum. That momentum builds belief. That belief fuels more action. It becomes a cycle of progress. You don't need fancy software or complicated systems to do this. A notebook, a spreadsheet, a whiteboard, something simple but consistent. Write down the goal, break it down into small steps, check off your progress, celebrate the wins, adjust where necessary, keep it in front of you. Review it at the same time every day. Make it a part of your routine. When it becomes habit, it becomes unstoppable. You also need to track your emotions around money. How do you feel when you check your accounts? Are you scared, angry, frustrated? Or are you calm, focused, and curious? Your emotions around money matter. Wealthy people don't just manage money, they manage their mindset around it. If you feel anxious about finances, don't ignore it. Get curious. Ask yourself where it's coming from. Learn about money. Understand it. The more you know, the more power you have. The more power you have, the less fear controls you. People who grow their wealth steadily don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems. They don't wait until they feel like checking their goals. They check them anyway. That consistency creates trust. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe that you can stick to something. That belief spills into every other area of your life. You become someone who follows through, someone who doesn't need outside pressure to do what matters. That's what daily goal tracking builds. There's something powerful about watching your own progress, seeing the numbers shift, watching your savings grow, watching your income increase, watching your debt shrink. It gives you proof, not from someone else, from your own life. That proof becomes your new standard. You don't go back. You keep building because you've seen what happens when you get clear, get focused, and stay consistent. Number 4, invest money in skills that multiply your income. Most people spend their money the moment they get it. They think of income as something to be spent on comfort, entertainment, or short-term gratification. But the people who become truly wealthy understand something different. They don't just spend money. They use money. And the smartest use of money is not to show off, it's to grow. Not just to grow in savings, but to grow in capability. When you invest in your skills, you're investing in your ability to produce more income, solve higher level problems, and make yourself more valuable in any marketplace. We live in a world where information is everywhere, but skill is still rare. You can find answers to anything online. You can watch tutorials, read articles, attend free webinars. But access isn't the same as mastery. Wealthy people don't stop at learning, they train. They practice. They pay to be mentored. They spend money on courses, certifications, programs, coaching, not because they have nothing else to do with their money, but because they know what that investment will return. They know that skill is leverage, and leverage creates freedom. A single high-income skill can change your entire financial future. It can open doors, create opportunities, and allow you to command higher prices, higher salaries, better deals. Skills compound. When you learn how to market, how to sell, how to lead, how to negotiate, how to build systems, those things don't just help you once. They help you for life. They pay you again and again. One skill can turn a stagnant income into exponential growth. But that only happens when you stop thinking of education as a one-time thing and start seeing it as a lifelong advantage. Most people think they can't afford to invest in themselves. They'll say things like, I don't have the money for that course, or I can't afford that coaching program. But they'll spend that same money on shoes, on parties, on restaurants, on things that fade the moment they're used. The wealthy think differently. They know that the best return is the one that gives you more earning power. So they make sacrifices. They delay gratification. They turn luxuries into fuel. While others are spending money to escape their reality, they're investing to change it. The people who grow fastest in life are the ones who don't hesitate to buy speed. That's what skill development is. It's speed. It compresses the time it takes to succeed. You can figure everything out on your own, or you can learn from people who've already done it. You can waste years trying to build a business, or you can pay to learn from someone who built theirs in a fraction of the time. You're not just buying information. You're buying a shortcut through the struggle. That's what wealthy people do. They don't just hustle harder, they learn smarter. The real cost of not investing in yourself isn't the money saved. It's the income you never earn because your skill set is stuck. It's the deals you never close, the promotions you never get, the businesses you never scale. Every day you wait to improve your skill, you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving potential unrealized, and that loss is invisible. You don't see it, but it's there. Wealthy people are hyper aware of that loss. That's why they don't wait for permission to grow. They invest early and they invest often. You want to become more valuable? Learn how to solve more valuable problems. That's what people get paid for, problem solving. The bigger the problem you can solve, the more you can earn. If you're stuck at a certain income level, chances are you've been solving the same level of problems for too long. The only way to break through is to level up your skill set. And you don't do that by chance. You do it by choice. You pick the skills that matter in your field and you go all in. You commit to mastery. And you keep evolving. Wealth doesn't just follow effort. It follows skillful effort. You can work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still be broke if your skills are basic. But a single skill, mastered and monetized, can produce what a job never could. That's why wealthy people aren't afraid to spend money to learn. They know that every dollar spent on skill is a dollar that multiplies. They don't see education as an expense. They see it as equity. Every new skill they learn adds to their value. And value is what gets paid. The economy rewards results, not effort. Results come from capability. You want to be irreplaceable? You want to be in demand? Then you need to become someone who delivers what few others can. That means you need rare and relevant skills. Skills that make businesses grow. Skills that solve pain points. Skills that create outcomes people are willing to pay for. And the only way to get those skills is to invest in them. Don't wait for someone to train you. Train yourself. Don't wait for the company to offer development. Create your own development path. Pick a skill that aligns with your goals. Study it deeply. Pay for the best training you can afford. Practice it until it becomes second nature. Apply it in real situations. Get feedback. Refine. Improve. That's the formula. That's how the wealthy think. They're not waiting for the world to give them a raise. They're building their own ladder. Some of the most powerful income multiplying skills cost less than what most people spend on entertainment in a single month. Public speaking, copywriting, digital marketing, sales, investing, software development, leadership, strategic thinking. These are not secrets. They're accessible. But the question is, are you willing to pay the price in time and money to learn them? Wealth is built through intention. You can't stumble into it. You have to become someone who knows how to create value and capture it. That starts with skill. Not just knowing something, but being excellent at it. And excellence takes investment. It takes money. It takes effort. It takes time. But the return is freedom. The return is independence. The return is leverage. Once you have the skill, no one can take it from you. You can use it anywhere. You can build with it, earn with it, teach with it. You become a producer instead of just a consumer. There's a level of confidence that comes when you know you can earn anytime, anywhere. That confidence isn't built from motivation. It's built from skill. When you know how to generate income from your own ability, you're not afraid of recessions. You're not afraid of losing a job. You're not dependent on anyone. That's what wealth is, not just money in the bank, but the ability to create it at will. That ability is born from skill, and that skill is built through investment. Most people look for the cheapest path. The wealthy look for the most effective one. They don't ask, how much does it cost? They ask, what will this make possible? That's the question that changes everything. What does this skill unlock? What new income streams does it create? What higher paying opportunities does it open up? What level of independence does it give me? Ask those questions and you'll start seeing every investment in yourself as a step toward the life you want. And don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Start where you are. Spend what you can. Get skin in the game. When you pay attention. When you invest your money, you show your mind that growth matters. That seriousness changes how you approach learning. You stop treating it like a hobby. You start treating it like a mission. And that shift is what accelerates progress. Number 5, surround yourself only with growth-driven people now. If you want to change your life, you need to change the people you spend time with. The people around you shape your thinking, your habits, and ultimately, your success. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's a fact. If you're surrounded by people who are content with mediocrity, you'll become comfortable with mediocrity. If you're surrounded by people who think small, you'll start to think small too. But when you surround yourself with people who are growth-driven, who push you to be better, who challenge you to aim higher, you'll start to see yourself in a completely new light. Growth-driven people don't settle. They don't make excuses. They don't look for shortcuts or try to get by with the least amount of effort. They want more. And that desire for more doesn't just stay within them, it spreads. It affects the energy in the room, the conversations, the actions. When you spend time with people who have high standards for themselves, those high standards rub off on you. They raise the bar. They make you want to show up as the best version of yourself. The truth is, most of us are influenced more by our environment than we realize. Your friends, your colleagues, your family, they all play a role in how you think and what you believe is possible. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and pessimism, it's harder to stay focused on your goals. If you're surrounded by people who have the same mindset as you, it's easy to stay stuck. But when you intentionally place yourself in an environment full of ambitious, growth-driven individuals, the shift is immediate. You'll start thinking bigger, acting faster, and believing that your goals are within reach. Look at the people who are already in your life. How do they talk about success? How do they approach challenges? Are they focused on growth or are they focused on survival? The people who are focused on growth are always looking for ways to improve. They're reading books, attending seminars, listening to podcasts, and actively seeking knowledge. They don't wait for success to come to them. They go after it, and they take others along with them. When you surround yourself with these kinds of people, you start to internalize that drive. You begin to take ownership of your own growth, and you become more disciplined, more ambitious, more focused on the big picture. It's not just about who you spend time with, but also about how those people make you feel. Growth-driven people don't drag you down. They lift you up. They encourage you when things get tough. They celebrate your victories and help you navigate your defeats. They hold you accountable and inspire you to keep moving forward. They don't let you make excuses or settle for less than what you're capable of. Instead of letting you stay stuck in your comfort zone, they push you to expand your vision and pursue your potential. This doesn't mean you should cut everyone out of your life who doesn't share your drive for growth. But it does mean that you should be intentional about where you focus your time and energy. Seek out relationships with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who push you to be your best. Surround yourself with people who are already where you want to be, or who are on the same path of growth as you are. Find mentors, partners, and friends who can help you elevate your mindset and your actions. The energy you get from being around these kinds of people will propel you forward in ways that you can't even imagine yet. Another thing you'll notice when you surround yourself with growth-driven people is that your own standards will rise. You won't settle for being average anymore. You'll expect more from yourself. You'll start making decisions that align with your goals, not with your comfort. You'll look for opportunities to learn and grow because you'll see that those around you are always improving and you won't want to fall behind. When you are constantly surrounded by people who are striving for excellence, you can't help but want to be excellent yourself. Wealthy people, successful people, growth-driven people, they don't tolerate mediocrity. They don't make excuses for why they can't reach their goals. Instead, they find solutions. They find a way even when things get tough. And they do this because they've created a network of like-minded individuals who share the same values. This network becomes a source of strength. When you are surrounded by people who are all pushing towards something greater, it becomes easier for you to do the same. But this doesn't just happen by chance. You have to be intentional about the people you allow into your inner circle. If you want to grow, you can't afford to spend your time with people who are content with where they are. You need people around you who are constantly asking themselves how they can improve. People who are excited about the future and are willing to put in the work to make it happen. You need people who are committed to learning, who are hungry for knowledge, and who are always looking for ways to elevate themselves and those around them. It's also important to understand that growth-driven people may not always be easy to be around. They'll challenge you, and sometimes they'll make you uncomfortable. They won't let you settle for less than you're capable of, but that's exactly what you need if you're serious about growth. Growth isn't about staying comfortable. It's about stretching yourself, about going beyond what you thought was possible. And the people who will help you do that are the ones who are willing to challenge you. They won't sugarcoat the truth. They'll tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. And that's how you improve. When you start surrounding yourself with growth-driven people, you'll also start noticing opportunities you might have missed before. You'll see paths to success that weren't clear before. You'll start asking questions you never thought to ask. You'll learn to think bigger, to dream bigger, to act bigger. Growth-driven people help you see beyond the limitations you've placed on yourself. They help you break through your self-imposed boundaries. They expand your thinking, and that expansion opens up new possibilities. Don't settle for an average life. Don't settle for being around people who are content with the status quo. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to surround yourself with people who are committed to growth, who are always pushing forward. These people will inspire you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. They will make you better. And when you are surrounded by greatness, greatness becomes a part of you. The world is full of distractions, full of people who are happy to stay stuck in the same place. But if you want to move forward, if you want to grow, if you want to reach the next level, you have to choose your environment wisely. Choose to be around people who will push you, who will challenge you, who will help you become the person you're meant to be. Because when you surround yourself with growth-driven people, your own growth becomes inevitable. Number 6, eliminate emotional spending and control your urges. The ability to control your impulses and manage your spending habits is one of the key differences between those who achieve financial success and those who don't. Emotional spending is a trap that almost everyone falls into at some point in their lives. It's the idea of spending money when you feel stressed, bored, sad, or even happy, without considering the long-term consequences. This kind of spending, driven by emotions rather than logic, leads to financial instability. It leads to debt, regret, and a feeling of being out of control. But when you gain control over your emotions, you gain control over your financial future. The truth is, the moment you give in to emotional spending, you're making an immediate short-term decision that has long-term consequences. In that moment, you might feel good. You might feel a temporary rush of happiness from buying something new, but that happiness fades quickly. What remains is the financial burden, the guilt, and the realization that you've just traded your future for a fleeting moment of satisfaction. True wealth, on the other hand, is built over time through wise decisions, delayed gratification, and the control of urges. What you must understand is that emotional spending doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It's a result of underlying emotions or desires that you haven't addressed. It's the need to fill a void, to seek comfort, or to relieve stress. But none of these needs are solved by buying something new. In fact, the satisfaction from emotional spending is only temporary, and the void you're trying to fill just becomes bigger. It's important to recognize that the urge to spend emotionally comes from within you, not from external factors. And because it comes from within you, It's also something you can control. The first step to eliminating emotional spending is awareness. You need to start recognizing when you're about to make a purchase based on emotion rather than logic. Ask yourself, why do I want to buy this? Is it because I truly need it? Or am I trying to make myself feel better? Being able to pause before making a purchase, taking a deep breath, and asking yourself these questions can make a huge difference. It creates space between the urge and the action, allowing you to gain some clarity and avoid making decisions that are driven by temporary emotions. Once you have the awareness, the next step is to replace the urge with a healthier alternative. When you feel the need to make an emotional purchase, ask yourself what you can do to fill that emotional need without spending money. Could you go for a walk to clear your head? Could you call a friend to talk things through? Could you engage in a hobby that brings you joy and fulfillment? When you replace emotional spending with positive, non-financial activities, you start rewiring your brain to associate emotional satisfaction with things other than material purchases. It's also helpful to have a plan for your money. When you're living without a clear plan, it's easy to give in to emotional spending. But when you have a budget, a set of goals, and a clear picture of where you want to go financially, emotional spending becomes much less tempting. When you know exactly where your money is going, and when you're working towards something greater, every impulse purchase feels like a step backward. That sense of purpose will give you the strength to say no when you feel the urge to spend for emotional reasons. You must also understand that controlling emotional spending is not just about resisting the urge to buy something. It's about changing the way you think about money. Money is a tool. It's a means to create the life you want, not a way to feel better in the moment. When you start viewing money as a tool for growth rather than a quick fix for emotional discomfort, your relationship with money shifts. You start making decisions that align with your long-term goals, and you stop seeking temporary solutions to deeper emotional needs. Another powerful strategy to eliminate emotional spending is practicing delayed gratification. This means you teach yourself to wait before making a purchase. Instead of immediately buying something when you feel the urge, give yourself time to think about it. If it's something you truly need, you'll still want it after a day or two. But if it's something you only wanted in the heat of the moment, that desire will likely fade. Delayed gratification is a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger the more you practice it. The longer you wait before making a purchase, the better you'll get at evaluating whether it's really necessary or if it's just a result of an emotional response. It's also important to set boundaries for yourself. If you know that you tend to overspend when you're feeling down or stressed, set up safeguards. For example, you could remove credit card information from online shopping sites or set limits on your spending through an app. Make it harder for yourself to give in to the urge to spend impulsively. The harder you make it to act on your emotions, the less likely you'll be to do it. You're not just controlling your impulses. You're setting up your environment in a way that helps you make better decisions. Controlling emotional spending is a mindset shift. It's about shifting from a place of emotional indulgence to a place of financial discipline. Instead of seeking temporary relief from stress or sadness through purchases, you seek long-term fulfillment through discipline, self-control, and the pursuit of your bigger goals. It's a shift from being driven by immediate gratification to being driven by the pursuit of a greater future. Let's be honest, no one's perfect. We all slip up from time to time. We all make emotional purchases that we regret. But the key is to learn from these moments and grow stronger. When you slip up, don't beat yourself up. Instead, use it as an opportunity to reflect on what led to the purchase and how you can avoid it next time. Growth comes from recognizing where we've gone wrong and adjusting our behavior. Emotional spending is no different. The truth is, wealth isn't about how much money you make. It's about how much you keep. And controlling your urges is the key to keeping more of your money. It's about making intentional, thoughtful decisions that align with your future goals rather than reacting to temporary emotions. When you can control your emotional spending, you free up more money to invest in your future, to save for your dreams, and to create the life you truly want. If you want to build true wealth, you have to be the master of your emotions, not the servant. Emotional spending may feel good in the moment, but it's a trap that keeps you from reaching your full potential. By eliminating emotional spending, you take control of your financial destiny. You stop making decisions based on temporary feelings, and you start making decisions based on your bigger picture, your long-term goals. And that's how you build lasting wealth, one decision at a time. Number 7, discipline your focus and guard it with fire. In life, focus is one of the most powerful tools you can have, yet it's one of the most easily lost. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. We live in an age of constant notifications, endless information, and 1,000 things vying for our attention at any given moment. But if you want to succeed, you have to guard your focus with everything you have. You must treat it as if it's the most precious thing in the world, because it is. Without focus, you're lost. Without focus, you can't build anything of value. The most successful people, the ones who have truly mastered their craft, all have one thing in common. They have learned to discipline their focus and protect it at all costs. Your focus is what fuels your success. It's the fuel that keeps your engine running and pushes you forward, even when things get tough. Without focus, you scatter your energy in 100 different directions. You end up getting nothing done. Or worse, you waste years of your life chasing after things that don't matter. Distraction steals your time, and time is the one thing you can never get back. So if you want to create wealth, success, and a life full of purpose, you have to discipline your focus. You have to set it on your goals and protect it like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Focus is a skill. And like any skill, it requires practice. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. But what's the point of practicing if you're not committed to actually doing the work? Focus isn't something that happens by accident. It's not something you can simply wish for. It requires intentionality, discipline, and a willingness to say no to everything that doesn't align with your purpose. There's no magic formula for building focus. It's a matter of creating habits that reinforce your ability to focus on what matters most. The first step in disciplining your focus is understanding what matters most to you. Without clarity on what you're working toward, it's easy to lose sight of your goals. What do you want to achieve? What is your purpose? You have to get crystal clear on what success looks like to you. The more specific you are, the more focused your attention will be. When you know exactly what you're working for, distractions become easier to spot, and your ability to say no becomes stronger. Focus isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters. Once you know what matters most, you have to commit to it every single day. Focus isn't something you can rely on for just an hour here or there. It has to be a daily discipline. You can't afford to let your focus waver, even when life gets busy or challenging. The most successful people understand that every day counts. They understand that their focus is the one thing they can always control, and they protect it with everything they've got. This means guarding your time. Time is one of the most precious commodities you have, and once it's gone, you can never get it back. You need to become a master of managing your time. That means eliminating distractions, setting boundaries, and creating a structure that allows you to work on your most important tasks with full attention. Turn off your phone when you're working. Close the tabs on your computer that aren't related to the task at hand. The world doesn't need to know every thought you have in the moment. You need to cultivate an environment that allows your mind to be fully immersed in your work, and that requires discipline. It's easy to get caught up in multitasking, but the truth is, multitasking is a myth. Studies have shown that when you try to do multiple things at once, you actually lose focus and decrease your productivity. The key to focus is single tasking, dedicating your attention to one task at a time and giving it your all. It's about depth over breadth. When you give yourself the space to fully immerse yourself in a task, you don't just do it well. You create a level of mastery that sets you apart from others. Focus allows you to move faster, think deeper, and make progress that others can't keep up with. Another important aspect of disciplining your focus is learning how to say no. You have to learn to say no to the things that aren't helping you move toward your goals. This might mean saying no to social events, to people who distract you, or to opportunities that don't align with your purpose. Saying no isn't easy, especially when you're trying to please everyone around you, but it's absolutely necessary. Saying no to distractions is saying yes to your future. And when you say yes to your future, everything else falls into place. But saying no isn't just about avoiding distractions. It's also about saying no to self-doubt, to fear, and to negative thinking. The world will throw a lot of challenges your way, and your own mind might try to convince you that you're not capable of reaching your goals. But the key to focus is in pushing past those thoughts. You need to be able to quiet the noise in your head and stay focused on what's important. The more you practice this, the more resilient you become. You become the kind of person who doesn't let anything shake their focus. No matter how hard things get, you keep going. You guard your focus with fire. One of the hardest things about disciplining your focus is dealing with the distractions that come from within. We all have our moments of weakness, our moments of frustration, our moments when we just don't feel like doing the work. But in those moments, discipline is key. The best way to combat inner distractions is by building a routine. Routines create structure, and structure creates focus. When you wake up every day with a set plan and a clear intention, you eliminate the need to decide what to do next. The decision is already made for you. You're not relying on motivation to push you forward. You're relying on the habit of focus. This consistency is what leads to long-term success. Focus also requires you to manage your energy. You can't just push yourself to work endlessly and expect to maintain peak performance. Your body and mind need rest. If you don't take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally, your focus will deteriorate. That's why it's important to build in time for rest, recovery, and rejuvenation. Focus isn't just about working hard. It's about working smart. You need to recharge your batteries so that when you do focus, you're giving your best effort. The road to success is long, and it's filled with obstacles. But those obstacles become much easier to overcome when you have the discipline to focus. Every time you stay committed to your goals, every time you block out distractions and pour your energy into what matters, you build momentum. That momentum pushes you forward, even when the road gets tough. Your ability to focus is what will keep you going when others give up. It's what will give you the edge over everyone else. And as you continue to discipline your focus and guard it with fire, you'll find that success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Number 8, attack big problems instead of avoiding responsibility. Life is filled with challenges. Some are big, some are small, but every challenge comes with an opportunity to grow, learn, and ultimately move closer to the person you are meant to be. Most people, however, when faced with big problems, choose to avoid them. They try to dodge responsibility, hoping that if they ignore it long enough, the problem will either go away or someone else will deal with it. But that's not the way to live a successful life. The people who achieve extraordinary things are the ones who attack big problems head on, with determination and a clear sense of responsibility. Avoiding big problems is a natural reaction for many. It feels easier to procrastinate, to push things off until later, or to pretend that things aren't as bad as they really are. But the truth is, avoiding responsibility only makes the problem bigger. What starts as a small issue, if left unattended, can quickly snowball into something much worse. The longer you wait to face it, the more complicated it becomes, until it's no longer a simple problem. It's a full-blown crisis. But by confronting the problem early, by taking ownership of it right away, you can tackle it while it's still manageable. One of the most important lessons in life is learning to embrace responsibility. It's easy to look around and see other people who are avoiding their responsibilities, making excuses, or blaming external circumstances for their challenges. But successful people don't play the blame game. They take responsibility for what's happening in their lives. They recognize that life is not always fair, that circumstances are not always ideal. But they also know that their response to those challenges is what truly defines them. When you take responsibility, you take control of your situation. You stop being a passive observer of your life and start being an active participant. Instead of sitting back and waiting for someone else to fix things, you roll up your sleeves and do the work. And that's when the magic happens. It's when you step up to the plate and take charge that you begin to develop the skills, the strength, and the character needed to succeed. The key to attacking big problems is not to fear them. Problems, no matter how big, are just opportunities for growth in disguise. When you face them head on, you not only solve the issue at hand, but you also grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling future challenges. Avoiding responsibility is a form of fear, and fear can never be a good guide. Fear will paralyze you. It will keep you stuck in a place where nothing gets done, where nothing changes. But courage, that's what moves you forward. And courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act in spite of it. Now let's talk about mindset. When you approach a big problem with the right mindset, it no longer seems as overwhelming. The first step in attacking any problem is to change the way you think about it. Instead of seeing a problem as an insurmountable mountain, see it as a series of manageable steps. Break it down into smaller, more achievable tasks and focus on one thing at a time. Big problems often seem daunting because we try to tackle them all at once, and that's where we get overwhelmed. But when you shift your mindset and approach the problem with the attitude that you can break it down and solve it step by step, it becomes much easier to handle. Let's say you're facing a huge problem at work or in your personal life. Your first instinct might be to avoid it or to wait for someone else to step in. But the first thing you should do is take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I do right now to start making progress? Even the smallest step forward is progress. The act of taking responsibility for solving the problem, even if it's just making a phone call or gathering information, is enough to get the ball rolling. That's how you build momentum. But what if you make mistakes along the way? What if the solution you try doesn't work out? That's okay. Part of attacking big problems is understanding that mistakes are a part of the process. When you face challenges, you will stumble. You will face setbacks. But that's where growth happens. The people who achieve big things don't do so because they never fail. They succeed because they fail forward. They learn from their mistakes, adapt, and keep moving forward. Each mistake is just another lesson, another piece of the puzzle. And with each lesson, you get closer to the solution. It's also important to remember that attacking big problems doesn't mean doing everything alone. Sometimes the best way to tackle a problem is to seek help. There's no shame in asking for assistance or guidance. In fact, successful people know that they don't have all the answers. They understand that collaboration is key. So, whether it's finding a mentor, reaching out to a colleague, or even consulting experts, never hesitate to seek help when you need it. No one is an island, and no one is expected to solve every problem on their own. But even with help, the responsibility is still yours. You are the one who must take action. You are the one who must make decisions, take the lead, and stay committed. That's where the true power of responsibility lies. When you take responsibility for a problem, you empower yourself. You're no longer a victim of circumstances. You're a creator, a solver, a doer. And in that position, you have the power to change the course of your life and your future. In addition to taking responsibility, you must also stay disciplined in your approach. Once you've identified the problem and broken it down into smaller pieces, you need to stay focused on the task at hand. Discipline is key when it comes to attacking big problems. It's easy to get distracted, to wander off course. But the disciplined person stays focused. They put in the work, even when it's hard, and they don't quit until the problem is solved. It's this kind of relentless pursuit that sets successful people apart from the rest. They're not afraid of the hard work. They're not afraid of the time and effort it takes. They understand that the bigger the problem, the greater the reward. There's no magic trick to solving big problems. There's no easy path, no shortcut. But there is one thing you can count on. The person who attacks problems with determination, responsibility, and discipline will always come out on top. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to show yourself what you're made of. And every problem you solve makes you stronger, smarter, and more capable. The more problems you take on, the more capable you become of handling even bigger ones in the future. So stop avoiding responsibility. Stop shying away from challenges. Step up, face them, and solve them. That's the path to true success. Number 9, build income streams that work while you sleep. The truth about wealth is that it doesn't come from just working hard for a paycheck. It doesn't come from trading hours for dollars, hoping that one day you'll have enough saved up to retire. No, true wealth comes from creating systems, building assets, and finding ways to make money work for you while you sleep. That's the key to financial freedom. And the people who truly succeed don't just rely on one source of income. They diversify. They build income streams that flow in continuously, regardless of whether they're awake or asleep. The first thing you need to understand is that in today's world, we no longer live in a time where relying solely on one job is the smartest approach. While it may be comforting to think that your job or business is secure, it's not the most reliable strategy for long-term financial growth. Even the most successful businesses in the world, those that are earning millions, are constantly evolving, looking for new ways to grow and adding new streams of income. You need to take that same approach in your own life. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, check your phone, and you've already made money. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to exchange any hours for dollars. You didn't have to trade your time for money. Instead, your income continues to grow even when you're not actively working. This is the power of income streams that work while you sleep. And the best part is, it's not as hard to create these income streams as you might think. It's a matter of setting up systems, leveraging technology, and thinking outside the box. The first step in building income streams that work for you is to identify areas where your skills, talents, or knowledge can be monetized passively. The internet has made it possible for anyone, regardless of their background, to create products, services, or content that can generate income with little to no effort once set up. You don't have to be a tech genius to start building income streams. All it takes is a willingness to learn and a desire to build something that lasts. Take digital products, for example. If you have knowledge in a particular field, you can create an ebook, a course, or a downloadable guide that addresses a specific problem people are facing. Once it's created, it can be sold over and over again without you having to do anything after the initial setup. Think about it. Every time someone purchases your course or ebook, money is deposited into your account without you lifting a finger. It's a perfect example of a passive income stream, but that's just one example. There are countless other ways to build income streams that work while you sleep. If you have a skill that can be shared, you can turn it into a product. If you have a passion for teaching, you can create an online course. If you enjoy writing, you can start a blog and make money through affiliate marketing or advertising. If you have an eye for design, you can create a digital store selling your designs or templates. These are all opportunities for passive income. They require an upfront investment of time and effort. But once the systems are in place, they start generating income on their own. Now let's talk about the importance of building a brand. When you create income streams, you're not just selling a product or service. You're building a reputation. You're building trust with your audience. And that trust is what will keep people coming back for more. Whether it's a blog, a podcast, or a YouTube channel, people will buy from you because they believe in your message and your expertise. The more value you provide, the more people will seek out your products or services. And the more you'll be able to earn while you sleep. Another way to build income streams that work while you sleep is through investments. While it's true that investments can be risky, they are also one of the most effective ways to grow wealth passively. Real estate is a great example. You can invest in properties, and through rental income, your investment continues to pay off without you having to work for it day after day. The same goes for stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. These investments generate income over time, providing you with a steady stream of cash flow, even when you're not actively working. But investments require knowledge, strategy, and patience. Building wealth through investments is not something that happens overnight. But if you start with a clear plan and a long-term mindset, it can be one of the most powerful ways to make money while you sleep. You'll need to educate yourself, research the best investment options for your financial goals, and be prepared to ride out the ups and downs of the market. But with time, your money starts working for you, and the results can be remarkable. The next thing to consider is automating your income streams. The more you can automate, the less effort you'll have to put in once your systems are set up. For example, you can set up an online store that automatically processes orders and delivers digital products. You can schedule blog posts to be published at specific times, or set up email sequences to automatically nurture leads and drive sales. Automation is the key to scaling your income and making money while you sleep. The more of your income-generating processes you can automate, the less time and energy you'll need to invest in them, and the more freedom you'll have to focus on other things. But remember, automation doesn't mean you can set it and forget it forever. You'll still need to monitor and adjust your systems periodically to make sure they're working as efficiently as possible. The best part, though, is that once you've automated most of the processes, it becomes a self-sustaining cycle. You put in the work once, and the systems continue to generate income without you having to constantly be involved. Another powerful strategy is leveraging affiliate marketing. If you have an audience or platform, whether it's a blog, social media following, or email list, you can start promoting other people's products or services and earn a commission every time someone buys through your link. The beauty of affiliate marketing is that you don't have to create your own products. You simply recommend products that you believe in and that will benefit your audience. It's a win-win. You make money and your audience gets valuable recommendations. Over time, as your audience grows and your recommendations become more trusted, you'll see an increase in passive income from affiliate commissions. There's also the option of creating subscription-based services, whether it's a membership site, a subscription box, or exclusive content. People are willing to pay for access to value they can't get anywhere else. Once the structure is in place, these subscription models can generate recurring income month after month, providing you with a steady cash flow. People pay you while you sleep, and all you need to do is provide consistent value to keep them subscribed. The key to building income streams that work while you sleep is consistency. You won't see instant results and you won't get rich overnight. But by consistently putting in the work, investing in the right systems, and focusing on creating value, you'll build a portfolio of income streams that generate wealth with little effort on your part. And the best part? You'll have the freedom to live life on your terms because you've made money work for you rather than the other way around. Number 10, repeat your winning actions every single day. If there's one thing that can make the difference between success and failure, it's consistency. It's not about doing one thing right once and hoping it sticks. It's about repeating your successful actions day in and day out with discipline and focus. That's how winning habits are built, and that's how success is achieved. The most successful people in the world, the ones who consistently win, understand this principle deeply. They don't leave their success to chance or randomness. They repeat the actions that brought them victory over and over again until they've mastered them. Think about it. When you go to the gym and you start working out, at first you're not seeing much change. You're putting in the effort, you're doing the work, but the results aren't immediately visible. However, if you stick with it every single day, gradually you start to notice the difference. Your muscles grow, your stamina improves, and you feel stronger. Success works the same way. You might not see the fruits of your labor right away, but if you keep repeating the actions that have worked for you, you'll eventually get the results you're striving for. This principle isn't just about physical actions, though. It's about mindset and discipline. It's about making the decision every single day to do the right things, the things that will bring you closer to your goals. It's about focusing on the actions that drive results and eliminating distractions that pull you off course. When you repeat those winning actions consistently, you start to develop a rhythm, a flow that keeps you moving forward, day after day, no matter the circumstances. The truth is, most people fail because they don't repeat the right actions. They get distracted by new opportunities, shiny objects, or things that seem exciting in the moment. But success doesn't come from jumping from one thing to another. It comes from focusing on what works and sticking with it. You need to repeat your winning actions, even when it's hard, even when it feels like progress is slow. Progress isn't always fast or dramatic. Sometimes it's a small, steady improvement every single day. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that the key to success lies in big, dramatic actions. They think that the only way to make a breakthrough is to make a huge leap. But success isn't about leaps and bounds. It's about small, consistent steps. Repeating your winning actions, one day at a time until they become second nature. When you focus on the right things and repeat them consistently, success becomes inevitable. The most powerful thing about repetition is that it builds momentum. When you keep doing the right things day after day, you start to build a snowball effect. What started as a small effort becomes a massive force that pushes you forward. It's easy to get discouraged when things aren't happening quickly, but trust me, momentum is real. And once it starts, it becomes much easier to maintain. Repeating those winning actions every day is how you build that momentum. It's how you create a cycle of progress that feeds itself.